Good evening, I'm Camden Combe, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Earlier today, Nebraska men's and women's basketball both announced their TV schedules as well as some tip times. The Huskers men's team will be featured on Fox 3 times against Indiana, UCLA, and Iowa, and FS1 4 times, including the games with Creighton, Rutgers, Illinois, and Michigan. The men will also be on the Big Ten Network a total of 15 times. The women will be on FS1 once against Indiana, the Big Ten Network 8 times, and on Peacock once when they battle Michigan. For more information on tip times and other networks, visit Huskers.com. Finally, there are 4 Major League Baseball playoff games today. The Tigers beat the Guardians 3-0 to take a 2-1 lead in that series. Currently, the Phillies lead the Mets 1-0 in the 6th. In just a few minutes, the Royals host the Yankees, and just after 8 tonight, the Padres host the Dodgers. The Padres lead that series 2-1. Our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout if you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Hour 1 of Sports Nightly is up next, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
They are bunched up around the line of scrimmage. Handoff to Dowdell off the right side. Touchdown, Nebraska! Dante Dowdell finds Pater. 6-0 Big Red. Let those balloons loose. 4th and 10 from the 26. Shotgun for Kaliak Menace. Gets the belt high snap. Has some time. Gets hit. Goes down. Huskers will take over on downs. James Williams again gets home.
Long drive served by Alexi. Okay, pass Lilyberry. Left side tip shot popped in the air. Easy dig for Nebraska. Fed left. Harper. Kaboom! Whoa! Putting dents in the Huff Hall deck. Timeout, Illinois. Wow. Harper Murray. Bang. Douse at the net. Here come the Hawkeyes. Bumped over to the left. Gabby Jerry tipping. Big pancake. Bring out the special. Kennedy. Left side tip shot off the locking out. Taylor Landfair. That's volleyball 16-6.
Now, here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Well, it's our Hump Day edition of Sports Nightly here on the Huskers Radio Network. And normally tonight, Wednesday night, we would have a football radio show. But because of the bye week, no show for the guys. Coaches letting them have a little bit of downtime this week. They're not putting in a game plan, so their hours reduced a little bit. I'm sure they're enjoying that, probably seeing their families a little bit more this week, as then it'll be take a deep breath in the next 3 weeks, and then we'll have a second bye week. They'll come up in November. So Huskers did practice today. They'll practice tomorrow, but then they'll get Friday, Saturday, Sunday basically off to kind of just get a mental break from this whole thing. And that's really important to do that. And, I think Jeremiah has even said it during this week. He loved bye weeks and the mid-season bye weeks just are maybe the best. And this one's perfectly placed for the Big Red. Yeah, because you think about it, if it's at the beginning of the season, you're just kind of getting going and maybe finding some momentum, and then you got to take a day off or a week off. And, towards the end, it's maybe not soon enough, because you need, your body needs the rest. But here it is right here in the middle, and they're feeling pretty good, but you still have a few bodies you'd like to get healthy, a few guys that maybe could use an extra week here. But I love what Coach Roll said too, though, in his press conference this week about making sure that the coaching staff gets some time this week, because a lot of times during bye weeks, obviously it's heavy recruiting time, but they're going to use the second bye week to utilize that, and that they've really been going really hard since July and haven't had much time, and he's just such a huge family guy that he knows the importance of that. So giving his staff some time to go see your family, be with your family, get away, and then, hey, we got a stretch coming back of tough games, but then also that one other week that we technically get off with a bye week, it's going to be a heavy recruiting week. So take this weekend, get rejuvenated, because it's going to be a pretty big push ahead once you get back. 2 bye weeks is not normal. It has to do with how many Saturdays are between Labor Day and Thanksgiving, and this year there are 14, so you only play 12 football games, so you get to 2 bye weeks. But that's not the norm in college football. Maybe it will be moving forward. Maybe you start the season in week 0 instead of waiting until Labor Day weekend, which is kind of the traditional start of the college football season. That's for people much higher up the ladder than me to make that determination. But I think, with 14 weeks for a season, 2 is perfectly fine. To give the guys a chance to push away.
Well, yeah, and especially for, then you talk about continuing to add games as the college football playoff and the length of the schedule continuing to grow, then, I think it'd definitely be beneficial to have an extra bye week in there for some of those teams. Now, I know that some of the teams will get the first round bye in there in the college football playoff, but for a lot of these teams, with the added number of games, if you go on a run, certainly I think that a lot of teams would be all for having another week in there.
Absolutely. Just on social media a little bit ago, the Husker basketball account put out a message from Fred Hoiberg. They're going to have that open scrimmage at the Devaney Center. They're going to go kind of old school and go back and play in the building that housed Husker basketball from 1976 to 2014. That's Sunday, 2 o'clock. It's free. You can walk right in there and watch the guys have an inter-squad scrimmage. Maybe get your first look at a lot of these new players that we talked to, Jessica in specific talked to over the summer. I think it's a great idea, a chance for the guys to go out and have a practice session in front of some eyeballs, maybe work some kinks out before the season gets going here in a couple weeks. They will have that super secret scrimmage next weekend as Nebraska will fly to Salt Lake City and they'll play Utah in one of those scrimmages, and then they'll play Grand Valley State for an exhibition game the last Sunday of the month. The women will also play that day an exhibition game against Doane, but that'll be cool. So, folks, if you're Sunday afternoon looking for something to do and want to go watch a little basketball, go back and kind of reminisce about going to a lot of those basketball games at the Devaney Center for all those years. What a fun chance to go do that and get, like I said, get your eyes on a lot of new faces on that men's team.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be another fun team to watch. This has been a team that has really captivated Husker Nation with the last couple of seasons. Coach Hoiberg said, you're going to love this team. You're going to love the way that they play. And he feels really the same, that a lot of it's the same principles, kind of the same characteristics that we've seen in this program the last couple of years that have made them so fun to watch that he's seeing in this group. I think he found a recipe for success there. I did want to go back to the opportunity to be in Devaney. So you obviously a little bit more intimate setting with a scrimmage, but I'll never forget I was getting a facility store, as Derek Engelbart was saying. We went in there I think for a volleyball match or something. He was like, I still remember falling in love with Husker basketball coming here as a kid, So I know that people probably have some connections there to watching basketball in there. So it'll be special to be able to go back and do that.
Well, Fred Hoiberg played there when he was at Iowa State, and then he coached there when he was at Iowa State. So he experienced it in both ways as a player and a coach. So this will be fun. No reason to throw the doors open for PBA. Nebraska Athletics, a lot of people maybe don't know this, they own the Devaney Center. That is one of the buildings that's under Athletics' thumb, where PBA is not. It's a city-owned building. The athletic department leases it for men's and women's basketball to play there. So this is really no cost for Nebraska to go ahead and do this scrimmage on Sunday at the Devaney Center. We're going to hear from Jawan Gary later in this hour, one of the linchpins that did return from that March Madness team a year ago. We'll have that conversation coming up a little bit later on. And I've seen a couple of big previews written. I think Sam McEwen had one out earlier today on the women's team. That he's professing that this might be Amy Williams' deepest basketball team that she's had at Nebraska. And I would not argue. I think that's going to be a team loaded in depth and fighting for minutes, I think, which is a good thing. Good problem for Amy Williams to have. Yeah, and
I think, Greg, you were a pretty big fan, correct me if I'm wrong, of Jess Petrie and how she came along. Yep. We saw her grow a lot last year. And so, maybe for a team that had not enough depth maybe inside to spell Alexis Markowski, I think they probably feel a lot better about that. And Amaya Hargrove adds some size as well. And then you have the late the incomer that came late too. She's another big body too that you have some depth there. So while they've always had a lot of guards and a lot of talented guards, I think now you have more depth for the inside too. So I would agree with that. I think it's probably been the deepest since I've been here, just in terms of being able to have players that you can run in and have some size as opposed to running Alexis is just such a dominant player and has been such an important piece. But now you've got some other players that I think can come in and contribute inside as well. So she's going to get a lot of attention. So having some other players that you can call on to go inside and spell her, maybe even play with her, I think will be big for this team.
Camden mentioned it in the ticker. The schedules with times now out. Took till October the 9th for us to finally get some game times. So for a lot of you, and November is going to be a crazy month. A lot of home games for the men and the women. Obviously, you have volleyball wrapping up, although volleyball plays a lot of road matches in November. And as we know, Husker football only has 2 home games left with UCLA and Wisconsin. But you can now start maybe filling out your calendar with some actual game times for the men and women. You can find that at Huskers.com. All right, Jess and I are going to have some fun in the next segment. We're going to go through kind of the first half of Husker football, talk about who we think are the most valuable players on offense and defense, and maybe some players we think could have a breakout second half to the year. We're going to have some fun with that coming up in the second hour. In the second hour, we'll have our Big Ten Blitz here on a Wednesday night. Just because we're not playing Saturday doesn't mean the college football world comes to a halt. It does not. There are some monster games, including number 2 against number 3, Ohio State and Oregon. That'll be one of the games we'll preview in the Big Ten Blitz. And, as always, we want you to be a part of the program. 402-413-2400. That is our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline. They are your trusted partner in your everyday. Since 1975, shop for your next vehicle with a home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. We're back to pick out some MVPs of the first half of Husker football. We'll do that next.
It's time for some Nebraska farm facts. Want to know a fast way to rev up our Nebraska economy while helping the planet? It's right in your tank. When you fill up with clean soy-based biodiesel, you're increasing Nebraska biodiesel production while reducing greenhouse gases by up to 74%. So look for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, our economy, and our farmers. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit Huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker Football Spring Game, thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to Huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
Life doesn't come with guarantees, but working with Rob Seco comes pretty close. Our strategic investments in the seed we offer are designed to directly improve your bottom line. From full trait platforms, breeding and development, to field-by-field planning and seed-driven crop inputs, with Rob Seco, you have precisely what you need to improve plant performance and increase yield. Every farm, every crop, and every acre. Learn more at robseco.com.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the propane tank on your grill first before hosting a tailgate.
Let's fire up. Here, let me try. Seriously? You didn't check the propane? Who wants chips?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Salt and vinegar?
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Last season was a banner year for the Huskers, winning 5 Big Ten titles. Nebraska also finished in the top 25 in the Directors' Cup standings. Beardmore Subaru congratulates Husker Athletics and Nebraska student athletes for all their achievements and stands behind you again this season. Go Big Red! Beardmore Subaru in Bellevue has the all-new 2025 Subaru Forester. The same trusted SUV it's always been, only more so. Love begins with trust.
Husker fans, visit a participating AGCO dealer now until November 1st and enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets and pregame hospitality passes to the Nebraska versus Wisconsin football game on November 23rd in Lincoln. See your True Turf and Ag locations in Osmond, Columbus, and Falls City, Osceola Implement, and Kearney Equipment to enter for your chance to win this season.
Is your phone system holding you back? We know how important smooth, reliable communication is for your success. Whether your team is working from the office or on the go, you need a phone system that keeps up with your busy day. At Hamilton, we offer business phone systems that adapt to your needs, making every call clear and every connection simple. Upgrade to a Hamilton business phone system where advanced features meet unmatched reliability. Are you ready to transform how you communicate? Better phones, better business. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Out here, we raise stronger people, stronger crops, and we proudly raise our flag to that. Let the weather, pests, and pressures try to beat us down. We only keep growing up. With the next-gen genetics, the pure acre-for-acre know-how of these soils, and a deep pride of our roots, we're born to raise at Hogemeyer. Learn more at therightseed.com.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs. They are the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody back with you here on a Wednesday night. No football coaches show tonight because of the bye week. They'll be back next Wednesday night. In fact, I believe it's head coach Matt Rule in next. He usually makes one appearance a month. I believe that his is next Wednesday. John Cook's radio show returns tomorrow night before their double dip of matches at the Devaney Center over the weekend. Purdue Friday, Rutgers Saturday. So the head volleyball coach here tomorrow night during hour 1 of Sports Hunting. Well, we thought we'd have some fun tonight. We're halfway through the football season, 6 games in, 6 games to go, and thought, Jess, we'd each pick a offense and defensive MVP, and then maybe an offense and defensive guy to keep an eye on in the second half of the season. Let's start defense first. I'm going to go first. To me, the defensive MVP has been John Bullock. Leads the team in tackles, 2 sacks, has a pick 6, really made a play to lead to another pick 6 that Tommy Hill had against Colorado. And I just think so much of what he does, yes, it shows up on tape with the tackles and those things, but there's some other quiet things that John does that maybe a lot of people don't notice that end up making a successful play on the defense. I think he has played at a very, very high level.
Yeah, and I mean, you could argue that he's the quarterback of the defense, the way that he's communicating and leading the way, and he's been that way for anybody that might have been concerned with those 2 guys, Luke Reimer, Nick Henrich leaving, and the way that they had kind of managed the black shirts for so long. John Bullock was absolutely ready for his time to be that guy. And, yeah, he's really been flying all over the place. That's a good one. I think a lot of people would. I think Searles, I ended up asking him on the podcast this week. I think that's who he went with, too.
Okay, how about your defensive MVP?
Well, I'm just going to go back to what Terrence Knighton told us on the show last week. You know, if you've got linebacker that's flying around and playing at all world level like John Bullock is, a lot of times it's because you got a really good nose tackle and the way that he's taken up guys. And we've heard time and time again he's getting triple teamed. And while his stats don't necessarily jump off the page and aren't as big as they were last year, you know, Coach Knighton talked about that, well, people know who you are now, and now you're garnering some respect where people are trying to take you out of it, and it's sometimes taking 3 guys for them to do that. And so he's got 2 sacks, 16 total tackles, but just the way he plugs up the middle and allows for guys like John Bullock to go make a lot of plays, I think you got to tip your cap to you know, the guy up front and what he's done, and especially again, no rushing touchdown this season. A big part of that is that D-line led by Nash Hutmaker and Ty Robinson. So I'm going to give it to Nash, just going off the argument that Coach Knighton had last week about he's blocking up a lot of guys, that is opening up some things for some other guys to go make some plays.
Yeah, you're picking this fine line between Nash and Ty. I mean, they both have been so elite. I asked Coach Rural after the game, I said, it looked like Rutgers had a really hard time blocking 9 and 0. And he goes, most people do. He goes, they're really special football players. And you're absolutely right. Those two, particularly down on the goal line, are why we have not given up a rushing touchdown. They just absolutely don't move. The offensive line can't move them. They can't get them left or right or forward or back, or they can get them forward, but they can't get them back to allow a back to dive into the end zone. They have just been dominant. So I think couldn't go wrong with either one of those. I think kind of the mantra here is there's a handful of guys on defense we could have gone with and made a pretty strong case to be MVP, because really front to back, the linebackers, I picked the linebacker, you picked somebody up front. I think in the secondary, Isaac Gifford's kind of considered a bit of a safety back there. Sierra Wright has been, I think, an unbelievable player the last couple of weeks. Yeah, especially because you have the injury to Tommy Hill and everybody's like, uh-oh. You know, I mean, we've heard for the last several months how he's a NFL corner and how great he is and how much he brings to this defense. And, you know, when he goes down and he's one of your best defensive players, you're like, uh-oh. But Sierra Wright has come in and no problem. You know, he's got an interception. He forced the fumble. He's been really, really good too. So yeah, that's the thing about the defense. There's a lot of different guys you could pick from and make an argument for, but that's not a bad thing. And that's why they have the defensive statistics that they have. It's not a fluke through 6 games. And even going back to last year, you know, what this defense has done, game day in and out. It's just been really impressive. All right, how about your somebody to keep an eye on in the second half that may jump up in the second half and get bigger impact in the back half 6 games? Well, I mean, I kind of went a little bit back and forth on this one. I think we saw a little bit of a flash of it last week, but I think maybe James Williams could be a guy that continues to build, and he is just a wow type of guy. It's just a spark when he comes out there, and I think he can continue to build off of that. I think maybe even Jamari Butler, he doesn't probably get enough praise too for the disruption that he causes, but I think he might, you know, he's been a little injured, and so I go with one of those guys on the edge maybe to really break out and start racking up the sacks. I'm going to go a young pup, middle linebacker, V9, Vincent Schaefer's. He's made plays, but I think there's a lot more into it, and I think the game is going to start to slow down for him, and you're going to start seeing him make more and more plays. They have raved about this young guy since spring ball, and I just think he's ready to explode. You mentioned James. That's the guy that leaped at us last year in the back half, right? Because he didn't play hardly at all. All of a sudden, we're like looking at the Purdue game going, who's this guy? Who's 90 rushing the quarterback? So he kind of came out of nowhere. But I think James kind of started to show his flashes last week with Rutgers, and with some passing teams coming up with Indiana and Ohio State and USC who love to throw the football, we're going to need more guys to get to the quarterback, and James certainly can do that. Well, so I like your pick there. You know, as we heard Coach Knighton say that, and James even told me that this summer that they had to take me out when they were going to run the football. But now he's been a lot better against the run. He's a guy that maybe you trust to be out there a little bit in more situations other than just getting to the quarterback. So I think
his game continues to grow. But to your point, Greg, I mean, he was a guy that came in, I think it was like game 4 or 5, and then was just explosive, and then they ended up redshirting him. But you never know. There might be a defensive back that has been building and building, that's been on the scout team, that they're kind of playing around with the redshirt year. I feel like there could be a number of guys that we don't even know at this point that hasn't, maybe I haven't even seen the field, that maybe get an opportunity that are pretty impressive, but just that I know that they've got a lot of young guys that they're really excited about, but they're able to utilize those red shirts. There might be a couple of different guys that we might come in there and be like, wait, where did that guy come from? But just that he's been waiting in the wings for his time and taking care of business on the scout team. You never know with this defensive staff. They're not afraid to play players that are taking care of business and doing what they need to do in practice and flashing in practices and still able to utilize that red shirt. We might see somebody bust onto the scene here in the last half of the season.
All right, how about your offensive MVP?
Well, I got to go with the quarterback, Dylan Raiola, and obviously his stats, the completion percentage, he is one of the best in the country, still one of the best freshmen, and over 1,300 yards, 9 passing touchdowns, averaging 226 a game. But the interceptions, 2 of those were the jump balls, and then the one was last week. He's taking care of the football, and that is just... How many times last year did we say, if you just take care of the football, how many games go the other way, that went the wrong way, that didn't go the Huskers' direction? Taking care of the football, being smart with it, not forcing things, and getting them in the right situation. While, he might have come off not his best performance of the year last week, we still heard Coach Rule say there were a lot of really, really good things that he did, especially in the first half, getting the Huskers the lead. And I think just ultimately, Greg, the most important thing that Greg has done, or that Dylan has done, is instill a belief and confidence in this team that only comes when you have a quarterback like that you believe in and you trust, and it just adds a different kind of element. And the way that this team has bought into what he can be and does, and they have he's just got the team's respect, and they have a certain belief, I think, that maybe was missing a little bit without a really, really good quarterback and just the things that he can do. So, yes, the numbers are there, and he spread the ball around. He doesn't get locked into one guy. There's a lot of different players that have gotten involved in the offense. He can see things in a certain way, but probably to me the most important thing is not even going to be a number. It's just the belief and confidence that he's brought and instilled in an entire football team.
He's been terrific. Can't really argue, and I think hands down he would be the MVP, but for this exercise we decided to pick different people. I'm going to go Dante Dowdell. We weren't sure what we were going to get from the Oregon transfer. We hoped we would get kind of a hammer, and he's been that. Leads the team in rushing, 334 yards, 5 touchdowns. He's been a bull down around the goal line, which you like. He's been a bull on short yardage situations to keep drives alive. I think the coaching staff's really been happy with Dante. And for my player that I think could break out a bit in the second half on offense is Jalen Lloyd. It's kind of been a little bit slow burn with Jalen, only 6 catches so far, but he's averaging 30 yards a catch. I think there's some more big plays coming up in the back half with Jalen.
Yeah, I agree. And with Dante, too, you got to be also tip of your cap to the running backs that they've held onto the football, too. He had the one fumble, and then he's really improved in that regard. And so, yeah, taking care of the football is just such a huge part of what this offense has done to allow the defense to go do what they do. I think I'm going to go with Thomas Fidone. I know he's been involved with the offense, but I think we're going to see even more of him. And we had talked about him prior to the season, maybe being a guy that is one of the leaders in some of those statistics. But, both he and Dylan have talked to me recently about their connection and chemistry continuing to grow. And it's, he's just can be such a weapon. And he almost got into the end zone last week. Probably a lot of people thought he should have been into the end zone, but I think we're going to see him potentially really explode here in the last half of the season.
I think it's a great pick. That was fun, folks. Hope the Pac-6 games maybe will prove to be prophetic with some of these picks as well. All right, when we come back, I'll talk some basketball. Jawan Gary, one of those stars of the last couple of years who decided to come back. Huge get for Fred Hoiberg to get him back for one more year. Jessica caught up with him earlier. We'll have that conversation next.
Life doesn't come with guarantees, but working with Rob Seco comes pretty close. Our strategic investments in the seed we offer are designed to directly improve your bottom line. From full trait platforms, breeding and development, to field-by-field planning and seed-driven crop inputs, with Rob Seco, you have precisely what you need to improve plant performance and increase yield. Every farm, every crop, and every acre. Learn more at robseco.com.
From family road trips in a spacious SUV to heavy-duty hauling in a powerful truck, Woodhouse has the vehicle to fit your lifestyle. Purchasing a vehicle has never been easier thanks to our streamlined buying process. Browse a huge selection of new or pre-owned vehicles from top brands. View transparent pricing so you can find the vehicle that fits in your budget. And complete your purchase online. Shop when you want, where you want. It's the Woodhouse difference. Get started today at woodhouse.com.
A lot can happen between falling in love with a house online and owning it, between imagining living there and breathing in your new home for the first time. Having an advocate who can help you navigate the complex world of financing, inspections, negotiating, analyzing the market, and talking through any anxieties that may pop up, that can make all the difference. That's what the expertise of a Realtor can do for you. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors and bound by a code of ethics, because that's who we are.
It's time to review the top 3 highlights of the day. I'm joined as always by my co-anchor Snoop.
Hey, what up, though?
Snoop, number 1 has to be getting the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence at T-Mobile.
Yeah, you should hustle down to T-Mobile like a dog chasing a squirrel chasing a nut.
Nice analogy, Snoop. Dogs do love to chase squirrels.
And squirrels love to chase those nuts.
On to highlight number 2, at T-Mobile, families can save 20% every month versus the other big guys.
That is very impressive. You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
That's exactly what I'm planning on doing with my savings, Snoop. Now, take it away, Snoop.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on them. Now drop that jingle.
24 monthly web credits eligible to trade in on Go5G Next. Well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits and credit stop and balance on required finance agreement too. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Looking for the ultimate sports watching experience? Head to Smash Park in La Vista, home of Husker Hangouts, Omaha's official watch parties. Your go-to spot for epic game day deals, delicious bites, and unbeatable fun. Catch every moment on our massive screens. Challenge friends to pickleball, axe throwing, and other games. Smash Park is where the action happens, whether you're cheering on the Huskers or just enjoying the atmosphere. Smash Park. Visit us today and turn your game day into a game night. Smash Park. Play, drink, eat.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
Get ready again for some Nebraska farm facts. When there's work to be done, Nebraska soybeans are on the job in many of your everyday products. In fact, Nebraska soybeans are hard at work in Goodyear tires, Ford cars and trucks, Skechers shoes, asphalt, fuels, lubricants, name brand paints and stains, and more. Soybeans are an innovative replacement for petroleum, leading to more sustainable products all over the world. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
Husker fans, visit a participating AGCO dealer now until November 1st and enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets and pregame hospitality passes to the Nebraska versus Wisconsin football game on November 23rd in Lincoln. See your True Turf and Ag locations in Osmond, Columbus, and Falls City, Osceola Implement, and Kearney Equipment to enter for your chance to win this season.
Akrs Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs. They are the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back, Sports Nightly, here on a Wednesday night. Well, Jawan Gary decided to come back, play one more year of college basketball, much to the delight of head coach Fred Hoiberg. Juwan last year averaged 11.6 points per game and also 6.1 rebounds per contest for the Huskers, and shot a really good percentage from the field at 49% on his field goal makes. He recently sat down with Jessica to talk about the upcoming season.
Well, Juwan, can you believe it's this time of year again, the preseason, and it's time to get this kicked off again?
Man, I feel like we were just back in Memphis, really. But now I'm glad it's here. Been a fun summer, meeting the new guys, transfer, stuff like that, the freshmen. But, I'm glad that we're back in the position where it was starting last year for sure.
Okay, so take me back. You and Bryce put out a video that, hey, let's come back for another year. Your decision to come back and want to spend one more year here in Lincoln.
Yes, ma'am. First thing, I wanted to come back and graduate. A lot of people don't know that, but I wanted to be like my first actual person in the household that actually had my college degree, and I'm on the merge in doing that. I finished last semester, so this December I'll be graduated from college. So that's kind of a big thing I wanted to come back and do. And I feel like we left a lot of stuff on the table last year. Of course, we had a good season that Nebraska didn't have in a long time, but I feel like, we lost some away games we were supposed to be losing. I feel like the Memphis game could have went different than how it went, but, we can't focus on the past. But I feel like me and Bryce feel like we left a lot on the table that we still need to clean up and, accomplish this year for sure.
You talked about getting that degree. Why is that so special? Why does that mean so much to you and your family?
Just to myself, you got to think that in reality, the basketball going to stop one day in my life. It could be tomorrow, it could be, next year, whatever. But, pray to God that it keep continuing to, keep feeding myself, keep feeding my family, keep, take care of myself and my family. But I just want to, have something to lean on when the basketball do stop. I always want to be a person to, mentor kids, not even just in basketball, but in life. Like, I got a little sister, who's a sophomore in high school. She's 6'1" for a 15-year-old, and she don't play basketball. Like, she's all up here. So just having that, that side of that, of course, my little sister don't want to play basketball, and I asked her to mentor her to do life, through college, stuff like that. I went through a lot of stuff in college, so just that mentoring side and that degree side, that degree, that shows a lot of people that, okay, you're capable of getting through a lot of things. So that degree is really a big thing for me, for sure.
You had have said before you didn't know much about Nebraska when you decided to come here. Where do you feel like you've grown the most, just from when you stepped foot here in Nebraska to where you are now?
Just the love I get from everybody. I feel like now I can't be go to a store or to a gas station without a kid or even a parent coming to me I know that you Jawan Gary. I want to come bug you. Can I get a picture with you? I was in Omaha last weekend actually top golfing. And some family, legit had sat beside us and waited till I leave. So I was there for an hour and a half. They waited till I left. And, I know that you was playing golf and everything. You're in the blue state. I'm yeah, trust me, I know. They're we got season tickets and stuff can get the picture with our kids. So stuff like that legit, fuels me. It makes me happy. I made a decision to come up here because, in the day, you got to go somewhere uncomfortable to get comfortable. I'm 20 hours away from home. That was a big thing for me my first year, but now it's this is basically my home now. I feel comfortable anywhere I go around here. I feel comfortable talking to people, conversate with them, interact with the kids, doing events, do the small things that when I do leave here, I do have a home to come back to for sure.
That's great. What has it meant to you to see the support grow and to what PBA was last year?
Man, I think if anybody have yet to step in PBA during the basketball season, I think you did.
You're missing out.
Yeah, you're missing out for sure. I think last year, we had one of the top basketball fan base in college history, in my opinion. You know, last year was rocking throughout the home game. Even in Memphis, you was there. You see how much people drove 10, 12 hours just to come support us. So just seeing that last year really, you know, fused me to this year. Like, okay, I know this year going to be way better, especially with the teams they added from, you know, Pac-12. You had Washington, UCLA, USC, and stuff like that. So it's going to be way more fun. But I would say I see my parents see more accountability of, you know, the support system. Like, when they not worried about, okay, is he going to get this done? Like, you know, is he going to get the support from everybody else? My mom never questioned that to this day. Like, you know, she was in Memphis, and, like, she was just shocked how many people was just loving me for who I am. Like, just having a parent, you know, seeing that support system of their kid, you know, their child, and their first one, like, you can't top that at all.
You know, for you, you've become known as, you know, the physical guy and the defensive stopper, and you take a lot of pride in that. Where does that come from? Why are you wired and like, I'm going to be the guy on the defensive end? Because
a lot of people don't want to do the small things. People don't want to do the things that's considered hard. You know, diving on the floor, you know, getting 10, 12 rebounds a game, you know, stopping one of the best players on the court, you know. Of course, you know, people want to score the basketball. That's God-given. A lot of people want to put the basketball on the hoop, but, you know, who's going to actually stop a person from scoring 15, 20 points a game? Because in the day, you win a game, okay, cool, but this person had 30. Like, he could still celebrate his 30, but we just going to celebrate a win. You know, in the day, like, I take the pride of, okay, if you got your foot on somebody's neck, why not, you know, just go and kill him for sure. So I take the pride of, you know, especially where I come from. You know, South Carolina, you know, I'm a small town kid, you know, Columbia, you know, a lot of people don't, you know where that's at, or a lot of people don't even go to Columbia, but, you know, just that dog mentality is anything I'm always going to say. Like, if you ever know who I am, like, the word dog is always going to come to me, because in the day, like, I'm a person who's going to do the gritty, the grindy stuff, you know, that's just going to fuel my team to play better, you know, for sure. Like, when my teammates see me diving on the floor, like, I feel like, you know, last year, Casey would come down here like 2 threes, and then something like that would happen, and CJ would come down here like 3 threes, just because I started the vibe of, okay, if he going hard, we're going to be right behind him, what we're going to do too. So this that who I am. That's just who I am, and that's all I'm going to be for sure.
I tell this story every time when people ask me about you. You know, I'll interview you after games. You've scored 20-something, or you've scored 0, but you've had 15 boards and 10 steals, whatever it might be, and you are just as happy no matter what. The stats don't necessarily matter to you. You want to contribute. How important is that role for this team to be whatever I need to do any given night, whether it's score, whether it's not score, and be a defensive stopper? You know, how important is that role for this team?
You got to see now, I'm the senior now. You know, I'm the OG. I'm the old head now. So if guys see me doing the bare minimum of, you know, just rebounding and, you know, getting stops on defense, they're just going to follow along with me. You know, the freshmen, you know, Braden, Nick, transfer like Gavin, Connor, you know, they came for the Big Ten, so they played against us, you know, what we willing to do on the defensive side. But I feel like, you know, I'm a leader where I don't need to just talk. Like, my actions going to show everything I need to do. Like, you know, for example, like Nick Janowski's probably one of the, you know, down-to-earth person I ever met out here. Like, I know he got his little sideways where he think he the best in the world. But, hey, when you're a freshman and you know you putting the work in, you're going to feel like that nowadays. But I would say, like, for example, Nick Janowski's probably one of the person that is very eager to learn. And I love that for him, because in the day, like, as a freshman, it's tough when you got, you know, older guys who played 3 years, 4 years, 5 years in college, and, you know, coaches, you know, they looking at you, but at the same time, they still got to focus on the older guys, because this is their last go run. But I would definitely give credit to Nick, how, you know, a presence he's been showing me, like, he's willing to go out there and learn. And I would say he's a dog, like, definitely a dog. But, yeah, I think my leadership just this year going to carry the team a lot, just from, like I said, who I am, definitely.
So, but, you know, for the record, you are just as excited about 15 rebounds, 0 points as you are 20 points and 2 rebounds.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, points don't matter. I mean, I feel like for instance, I don't know why I always compare myself to Dennis Rodman. You know, Dennis Rodman growing up and seeing him play, he did not care if he scored a lick of point. But if he knew he'd dive on that floor and get like 20 boards or even 20 rebounds total, and his team win, shoot, he gonna get the praise of it, because everybody see it. Like, of course, a lot of people in the background will see it, but the people that you playing with, oh, Jawan Gary just got 18 rebounds. Like last year at Kansas State, like, I got 18 rebounds. Like, I didn't even know until somebody came to, like, you was the 1 rebound away to bring in the record. I was like, see, I wasn't even focused on the record. I was just trying to win. So this stuff like that, like I said, the bare minimum stuff it's going to make me proud. Because in the day, if I'm doing a bare minimum, everybody else going to take care of their business and their job for sure.
What is the key? What goes into being an elite rebounder like yourself?
I would say ball placement. I feel like you got to have the urge to go get the ball, for sure. I feel like, some people legit think the ball is going to, bounce in your hands, But for my size and position, I'm quicker than most of the guys, for sure. So I know I'm, more athletic, too. So this me going to get the ball, like, in the day, like, 1-2 more possessions than what you have feel way more better than one and done. Like, just seeing that ball, just keep coming out the rim, go grab it, keep getting more possessions of the offense, like, that's going to get the defense way mad to the point where they're going to come down, make a bad play, and then come back and do it again, stuff like that. When that happens and you see they frustrated and the coach frustrated, then okay, you smell blood in the water for sure.
We've talked a lot about your defense and rebounding, but how much has your game grown on the offensive end under Coach Hoiberg and this coaching staff?
I think I've spent countless hours just working on my shooting, just being a consistent shooter, knock down the open shots, making the right reads. I feel like now that I'm the older guy, I feel like I can pace the game to my pace. I don't need to speed myself up because I'm trying to get the ball out of my hand way faster. Like now I could actually survey the court or even, make the right decision at the right time, because now it's like I did this before. I did this last year. I did it the year before that. So now I know exactly what to do and when to do it. So it's like now I can actually work on my, skill set, my shooting a little bit more now, just because I know what to do on the offensive end. So just being under Fred Hoiberg, one of the best shooters I ever known, for sure. Like, he praised that. I love him for the time he put in just to, work with me with my shot, stuff like that. Like, we got a NOAA system. I feel like a lot of schools should invest in a NOAA system. Like, just seeing where your arc is, your depth is. That my arc is now, if anybody don't know, like it's a 48, 47, which is when you want to be at, especially, if you want to be a great shooter. But, I consistently keep working that shot. Fred always going to say, if you open, shoot it. If you out there hesitant to shoot the basketball while you're out here. So definitely love how, the confidence he gave me just to, keep working on my game, keep working on my craft. But like I always tell myself, I'm not a full accomplished player yet until, that basketball done, for sure.
Last thing I got, just going into what's going to be your final year, this is it for you. What's your approach to it? How are you going about just making sure you're making the most of it?
Just one day at a time. Of course it's sad, you've been through a lot through college. Like, you got your ups, you got your downs, you got your W's and your L's. But I would think, I'll take for this last year, just, somewhere I could actually, set my mark. This is my set my mark year. Actually, set my mark in Nebraska to where, like I said, 10 years, 15 years down the road, I can actually just come back and just, get the worship of, okay, this is Jawan Gary. Like, he been on the team that, that made to the NCAA tournament and won a couple of games in there. Like, they made Nebraska basketball well known again, stuff like that. I just want people to know that I legit gave my 110% on every game, every court, and no matter what it is, I don't care if I'm scoring 0 or 10 points or 20 points, I'm going to go out there and get 100% to anybody, for sure.
You can just tell how much he loves Nebraska and loves that he came here. And, you made a comment recently at an event. I didn't even know where Nebraska was. And now he said, I found a second home. So the fact that he loves this place so dearly, wanted to come back and utilize that last year and help this team do something special. Another thing Coach Hoiberg said the other night with his team, how important that NCAA tournament experience was. Last year going into the season, Jawan Gary was the only person that had NCAA tournament experience. Now there's multiple guys on this roster that have, and so that's going to be important. That's really important going into an NCAA tournament, just having that experience, knowing how to approach it. And so big get for this team to have Jawan Gary back, as he is an important leader for this team. All right, we've got to step aside for a break, but we're back to wrap up hour number 1 next.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks, making them America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. Introducing the new 2024 Ford F-150 and Ford Super Duty, the 2024 North American Truck of the Year. This is the next generation of built Ford tough.
Get a 2024 Ford Super Duty for 1.9% with Ford credit financing, or get $2,000 bonus cash only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Out here, we raise stronger people, stronger crops, and we proudly raise our flag to that. Let the weather, pests, and pressures try to beat us down. We only keep growing up. With the next-gen genetics, the pure acre-for-acre know-how of these soils, and a deep pride of our roots, we're born to raise at Hogemeyer. Learn more at therightseed.com.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Folks, receive 1 year 0% financing on seed and crop protection when you enroll in Central Valley Ag's Go Early Seed program. Visit cvacoop.com to learn more. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation. Just a couple minutes left here in hour one. Really enjoyed hearing from Juwan. I know the coaching staff thrilled when both he and Bryce decided to come back. One thing that I think Coach Hoiberg has learned, Jessica, in the Big Ten, you need to have a veteran team to kind of even out the highs and lows of a season. And I think he feels like with Bryce and Juwan, he's got two kind of linchpins to go into the year with those two guys.
Yeah, I can't wait to see, too, how Bryce continues to grow and what his game looks like this season with another year, full year now working with Coach Hoiberg and this staff, and also being that now they've got a couple point guards. You know, he was a guy that had to take over bringing the ball up last year. They had the ball in his hands a lot more. So he had some flashes of some really incredible games and was really dominant. He's just such a matchup nightmare. So I can't wait to see just the step that Bryce Williams takes this year. And, you know, and you know what you're going to get out of Juwan. You're going to get that effort. You're going to get a guy that crashes the boards. And then it seems like every few games or so, he's going to put up like 20 or close to 20, you know, but just two really, really big pieces. And, you know, we had said that about when Rink Mast and figuring out if he's going to come, just how that trio to build around, to build a core around. It's hard to argue there's many better than that trio. So absolutely, I think good get for Coach Hoiberg for those two guys to come back.
Remarkable to win 23 games without a true point guard. That was really a great coaching job last year by Fred Hoiberg. 1 hour in the books, but hey, 1 hour to come. Come on back, have some fun with us in hour two.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
For almost 50 years, Sid Dillon Buick GMC Cadillac in Fremont has been more than just a dealership. We're a family dedicated to serving yours. Shop Nebraska's #1 volume Buick GMC dealer for the new car, truck, or SUV to fit your needs. We're also your GMC Business Elite dealer for commercial vehicles. Visit us at SidDillonBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
This fall, be ready for every tailgate, touchdown, and adventure in a perfect car, truck, or SUV from Sid Dillon Chevrolet. Visit us in Blair, Crete, Fremont, or Wahoo and shop Nebraska's #1 volume Chevy dealer group. We're also your Chevrolet Business Elite dealer, offering medium-duty trucks and low-cab forwards. Visit us at SidDillonChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
Good evening. I'm Camden Cohn, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Earlier today, Nebraska men's and women's basketball both announced their TV schedules as well as some tip times. The Huskers men's team will be featured on Fox 3 times against Indiana, UCLA, and Iowa, and FS1 4 times, including the game with Creighton, Rutgers, Illinois, and Michigan. The men will also be on the Big Ten Network 15 times. The women will be on FS1 once against Indiana, the Big Ten Network 8 times, and on Peacock once when they battle Michigan. For more information on tip times and other networks, visit Huskers.com. Finally, there are 4 Major League Baseball playoff games today. The Tigers beat the Guardians 3-0 to take a 2-1 lead in that series. Currently, the Mets lead the Phillies 4-1 in the 8th. If the Mets hold on, they will win that series. And the Royals and Yankees are scoreless in the 4th. That series is tied at a game each. Later tonight, just after 8, the Padres host the Dodgers. The Padres lead that series 2-1. Our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout if you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Hour 2 of Sports Nightly is up next, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
They are bunched up around the line of scrimmage. Handoff to Dowdell off the right side. Touchdown, Nebraska. Dante Dowdell finds Pater. 6-0 Big Red. Let those balloons loose. 4th and 10 from the 26. Shotgun for Kaliak Menace. Gets the belt high snap. Has some time. Gets hit. Goes down. Huskers will take over on downs. James Williams again gets home.
Long drive served by Alexi. Okay, pass Lilyberry. Left side tip shot popped in the air. Easy dig for Nebraska. Fed left. Harper. Kaboom! Whoa! Putting dents in the Huff Hall deck. Timeout, Illinois. Wow! Harper Murray. Bang! Douse at the net. Here come the Hawkeyes. Bumped over to the left. Gabby Jerry tipping. Big pancake. Bring out the special. Kennedy. Left side tip shot off the. Lock it out. Taylor Ladfair. That's volleyball 16-6.
Now, here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Here we are back for our final hour of our Wednesday night show. Hope you had a great day today or halfway through to another weekend. A weekend without Husker football. I'm sure there are weddings galore this weekend. In fact, congrats to our own Josh Banderas. He is getting married this weekend. So, Bando, enjoy that. I guess that slipped out late in Big Red Reaction Saturday. Courtney goes, how did I not know this? And so Courtney was all over it at the end of the show last week. So, Bando, we're thinking about you. Hope you have a great Saturday. Weather should be fantastic for your wedding. Camden went through the baseball score. The Mets are 3 outs away from going to the National League Championship Series. They lead 4-1 in the 8th. While pro baseball is wrapping up their season, both Husker baseball and softball are having their inter-squad scrimmages to wrap up fall ball. In fact, the Ronda Revels team had a scrimmage today out at Bowlin Stadium. The first red-white game for the baseball team will be Friday at 6. Check Huskers.com if you want to go out and catch some either softball and or baseball in the next about 10 days, and then they shut it down until they get back to practice in January. But a good chance to go out and watch some good softball or good baseball out at Haymarket Park or Bowlin Stadium for the next couple of days. So a little plug for those two teams as they get ready to wrap up their fall seasons and then go to the books, study a little bit, take some finals, and come back and get their seasons ready to get cranked up and ready to go. Both should be really good. I mean, you got Jordy Ball looks to be healthy. I know she pitched today in the scrimmage. Will Bolt's team coming off of an NCAA tournament appearance and winning the Big Ten tournament. That should be a lot of fun. We should continue the fun on into the spring, I would think.
Yeah, I'm excited about both those teams. I don't think they normally play some teams in the fall, but I think because of the lack of pitching depth, because Jordy's coming off the injury, you got the freshman last year, the right-handed, she was hurt, just lost her name, sorry. And then the transfer from Arizona State's coming off the injury. So you still have some pitchers that you're trying to get healthy. So they're doing things a little bit different, but still having some opportunities to go out there and compete. And they had a beautiful night for it tonight.
If you've got some interesting plans for the weekend, I'd love to hear about it. 402-413-2400, the number if you want to call or fire off a text. I got, Jess, we got a text last night about Sam Griesel. Resball is now out on Netflix. Sam Griesel, our very own Sam, is an actor in this movie. He kind of plays the bully, which is totally opposite of what he is. But I'm told he does a good job. I'm told the movie's pretty good. So, folks, if you want to download a movie over the weekend on Netflix, Resball, R-E-Z Ball. Can't wait to talk to Sam about this, saying, see what he thought of working in Hollywood. That had to be kind of different for him.
He must be a heck of an actor if he could pull that off, because
right?
He is not mean. He is not a bully. He's just the complete opposite of that. But, yeah, I am actually I thought you were about to ask me what my weekend plans are. I'm actually going out of town, going to have some family time, actually go to Nashville. I've only been one time, and it was when Kyler Murray got drafted #1 overall. I was working the whole time, so I didn't really get a chance to experience it. So I got some travel time that I'm going to have to download Resball, and then maybe we can do a review for it next week. Because you're going to try to watch it too, right?
I'm going to try to watch it this weekend as well. Yeah, there we go. We can compare notes on what we think of how he did in that thing. That's a perfect thing for your plane ride.
Yeah.
Download that thing, and it'll be perfect. You'll be able to probably watch it on the way there and get to catch the whole movie.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm actually going to do that. So great. Thanks for reminding me. And then, yeah, we got to get Sam on the show then sometime soon to be able to talk about it. And also, he's got a lot of ties to this program still, and knows a lot of these players very well. Andrew Morgan being one of those guys, Justin Bolus. So he still is very heavily, I think, involved in recruiting when he can. He has some conversations, some honest conversations with some players, and so he, I know, still very much is very, very tight, and his heart still is with this program. So he'll have a good, I think someday when he's done playing, he might be able to be a decent broadcaster too. If Jake Muehlheisen ever steps aside, maybe we could get Sam Griesel when his playing time is done, because I think he'd be pretty solid.
I do too. I think if he comes back to Lincoln, that'd be a perfect fit for him to be able to do that. Well, have a great time in Nashville. It's a great city, live music everywhere you walk. I hope the weather's good for you. I think it's going to be okay. And by the way, speaking of weather, this Hurricane Milton is just a monster that's hitting Florida. I see Rudy sent us a thumbs up check, so hopefully he's okay down there. I know we've got other people in our chat room that reside in the state of Florida. Be careful. It is just, these things are just awful, and I can't imagine living through one. I've never been even close to a hurricane, but just be careful down there, folks. We want you all to be safe and back with us next week.
Yes, absolutely. Some of the pictures are just devastating, and and they just got through, and you know, it was when we were there for the volleyball Final Four, they had a pretty devastating rain, then flooding that had happened, and then there was a storm. So yeah, just boy, now I think they got hit last hurricane. Now they're going to set to get hit again. But seeing some TikToks and some videos of some people that are, you know, trying to figure out what to do with their animals and all that, it's just heartbreaking, just so sad. So yeah, hopefully everybody makes it through, and but yeah, just devastating. And what do? You know, it's just weather is just just devastating sometimes.
I know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers relocated to New Orleans on Tuesday. So yesterday they took their team and flew to New Orleans. They're going to train there and get ready. I don't even know who they play this weekend, but just they got out of there. Like we may not be able to practice, we may not have electricity, those type of things. So they got the heck out of town. Because it's blowing through tonight in Florida, I don't know how much it's going to influence some college football games in that state this weekend. I guess it depends on the severity of the damage. It's really not getting the Miami area too bad. So if the Hurricanes are at home, they're probably okay. But I think Florida State's okay because they're for the north, but UCF could be affected. And obviously South Florida is located in Tampa. So, but that's secondary. I mean, people's lives and well-being's way ahead of any kind of sporting event that might be going on down there. But man, I just people talk about, boy, I can't believe you live in Tornado Alley. I'd take this over those nasty hurricanes. I mean, high water, wind. It blows my mind thinking about it.
Yeah, as devastating as tornadoes have been, obviously I grew up in Oklahoma. You can get into a cellar, and a lot of places have basements, and with hurricanes, you got to leave, and it's, I'm with you. I don't know. I would have a hard time handling those because it's just such a scary situation, and it's not like you can just go to the basement, you can't just hide out under the basement. It's, you got to a lot of times leave and evacuate and try to get out. I saw a photo of the highway or the interstate of people trying to get out, and it was just backed up. And so, just a scary situation.
All the gas stations are out of gas because people were filling up to drive certain distances to get away from the storm. And so they ran out of gas in a lot of parts of that state. The good news is, with hurricanes, if there is good news, the government and the people that rescue all those type of things, they've got ample time to kind of get their ducks in a row. That's a bad probably metaphor, but all the energy trucks are lined up in a certain area, ready to drive into these areas that are going to be affected as soon as the storm passes, which will be by tomorrow. And so they can get in there and start working on power lines and restoring power and doing those type of things. May not happen overnight, but they can get to it pretty quickly because they have so much advance notice on these storms, unlike a tornado where you don't know 6 hours out where it may be, or that you're even going to have it. So a little different kind of way to approach all that. Hope you have a great time.
Your daughter she's not there, right?
She came back for the weekend, went to the Rutgers game. We went to the Chiefs game of the night. She got her flight moved to Friday. I think she's going to even move it back to Monday just to give them a couple more days to clean up down. Orlando is not on the coast, but they're going to get a lot of high winds and rain around the Disney parks where she is located down there. Will you embargo yourself from watching college football, or will you take a peek or two on Saturday?
Oh, I'll definitely take a peek. I don't think I can stay away from this slate of games, but I do believe Saturday night, when my family asked me to do this, and we picked this weekend because it was the bye weekend, I was like, I don't care, just you guys take the wheel, and I'll happily just go along with the ride. But we're going to the Grand Ole Opry on Saturday night, so I might have to check I might pull a Searles. Searles, I think, is at a wedding and said that he's going to have his phone out maybe at times. I might have to do the same, maybe in intermission or something, to check some of the scores during the night games. But during the day, I should be able to maybe find a place and watch a few games. But there's no way I could miss all these games, A
lot of good ones. Yeah. Well, my butt will be on the couch. I'll be watching a lot of football here this weekend. Speaking of football, the Big Ten continues. Even though we're off this week, we'll have our Big Ten Blitz coming up next here on Sports Nightly on a Wednesday.
Cyber threats are everywhere. When is the last time you stopped to think about how you're protecting your business from potential data breaches, phishing scams, or ransomware? It's time to make cybersecurity a priority for your business. At Hamilton, our unmatched expertise and cutting-edge technology goes beyond basic defense, providing proactive, tailored solutions that keep your data, network, and digital assets protected. Better protection, better cybersecurity with Hamilton. Visit our website at hamiltonisbusiness.com to learn more.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Last season was a banner year for the Huskers, winning 5 Big Ten titles. Nebraska also finished in the top 25 in the Directors' Cup standings. Beardmore Subaru congratulates Husker Athletics and Nebraska student athletes for all their achievements and stands behind you again this season. Go Big Red! Beardmore Subaru in Bellevue has the all-new 2025 Subaru Forester, the same trusted SUV it's always been, only more so. Love begins with trust.
In the game of life, we all face tough moments. Sometimes it feels like we're up against a formidable block with no way through. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the final set. Reach out, speak up, and let's bump, set, and spike this challenge together. Because in Nebraska, we're more than players. We're a supportive community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every serve, every pass. Go Big Red. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Preparation is the key to success on game day. And like your favorite Huskers on the field, you need to be ready right from the opening kickoff. Cenex has your pregame routine covered. We've got your salty snacks, your sweet treats, ice-cold beverages to wash them down, and fresh tanks of propane to fire up the grill. Fuel your fandom at your local Cenex station. Husker Pride, powered locally.
From family road trips in a spacious SUV to heavy-duty hauling in a powerful truck, Woodhouse has the vehicle to fit your lifestyle. Purchasing a vehicle has never been easier thanks to our streamlined buying process. Browse a huge selection of new or pre-owned vehicles from top brands. View transparent pricing so you can find the vehicle that fits in your budget. And complete your purchase online. Shop when you want, where you want. It's the Woodhouse difference. Get started today at woodhouse.com.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks, making them America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. Introducing the new 2024 Ford F-150 and Ford Super Duty, the 2024 North American Truck of the Year. This is the next generation of built Ford tough.
Get a 2024 Ford Super Duty for 1.9% with Ford credit financing, or get $2,000 bonus cash only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Imagine a world where your office IT runs smoothly, securely, and effortlessly. A day where you aren't worried about the next outage or password compromise. At Hamilton, we take care of everything from monitoring and maintenance to security and support. We partner with your business to design integrated technology solutions that fit your needs now and your goals for the future. With on-site and remote IT support options, we're always just a call or click away. Elevate your IT with Hamilton Managed IT. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs. They are the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Off week for the Huskers, but it's not an off week around Big Ten football. It's Wednesday night. Means it's time for us to take a little trip. We call it the Big Ten Blitz, presented by Groundworks.
This is the Big Ten Blitz. USC.
Here to talk about the Trojan, Scott Schrader of WeAreSC.com, part of the On3 family. USC coming off of a hard-fought, tough loss down to the wire with the Gophers last week by 7 points. And I know a lot of unhappy Trojan fans with that reversal of that call. Scott, your thoughts about that game and how damaging could that be for SC moving forward?
Yeah, I think if you had to choose a few games this season that you would have put in the likely loss column, the Minnesota game I don't think was going to be one of them. But at the same time, this USC team, they've had some glaring issues with the offensive line, and it's one of those like last year with the defense. The defense had the ability to give up 250 yards rushing to the worst teams with rushing. So this year it's kind of like USC's offensive line is is kind of the weak spot, and they've had some issues with guys coming off the edge from Michigan and Minnesota now. So, it was one of those games I wouldn't have expected them to lose, but I think every week it's probably going to be a challenge for USC to win. But I think they can win every game, but they can probably lose a lot of them too.
What's the early season and almost to the midway point here? Grade card on Miller, how well he's done at quarterback.
Yeah, I think overall, he's your quarterback, unless you're Caleb Williams or some of these unusually freak aliens that we've seen over the years at quarterback. If you're not getting any pass protection, USC ranks last in college football in the amount of time that the offensive line is giving Miller Moss to throw the ball. I think it's like 2.2 seconds or something like that. And so, I think Miller overall has performed exceptionally well under the circumstances. There's been some drop passes that you wouldn't normally expect. That it's one thing to drop passes, but it's another thing to routinely drop passes that are going for first downs, especially early in the games on the road. And I think that's also so. There's been a lot of issues that USC's been dealing with, and I don't think Miller Moss is one of those glaring issues.
Well, this week doesn't get any easier. Here comes number 4 undefeated Penn State. Give me your thumbnail sketch on this game. What are some keys from the Trojan standpoint if they want to pull off a big home upset against Penn State?
Well, again, now you're facing another top 10 defense in Penn State, another team that's going to have a strong defensive line. So you're facing the same issues that you did at Michigan and at Minnesota. The offensive line has to come through for USC, and there's things you can do. After 2 losses, and the losses kind of come in the same way. I'm sure this week that Lincoln Riley will probably add some help on the line when there's going to be adding a tight end in there or another offensive lineman, but they're going to have to block for Miller Moss. I think the offensive line is doing a really good job as far as the running game is concerned. So, we'll see how that goes. But, I'm not overly familiar with Penn State's offense. You might be able to get a lot more insight on that part. I spend a lot of my time on the recruiting end, so I don't always get maybe the best insight on everything that's going on. But, you're facing a team that is just good across the board. They're going to be good offensively. They're going to be good defensively. They're going to come at you with a really strong offensive line. And this year, I think USC has the ability to play defense. So, I think it's going to be another one of those really close games. USC can't turn the ball over. They can't have any of these untimely penalties. It's just you got to play a clean game. And, I think that's the case with a lot of teams. But I'm expecting another close game. And it's kind of it's getting to that do or die point with USC right now, especially if you want to hold on to a really good recruiting class.
Scott, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Penn State, back-to-back-to-back. Starting to feel like a Big Ten team, are you?
It does feel like a Big Ten team. I've had conversations with people that asked me, what it's been like, going to Michigan. And look, Minnesota isn't often talked about, at least out here, as far as venues and all that kind of stuff. But again, you had a packed house in Minneapolis, and the environment was outstanding. So yeah, it's kind of fun for me from my perspective. I'm really, really enjoying it. I don't care if I have to travel to go see great games like that.
USC hosting Penn State Saturday, 2:30 Central on CBS. Scott Schrader of On3. Scott, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Oregon.
Here to talk about the Ducks, Eric Skopel of At Duck Territory, part of the 24/7 Sports family. Oregon comes in number 3 in the country, coming off of a victory over Michigan State, 31-10. How did they play in that game, considering this one was on the horizon, Eric? Sometimes you can kind of look ahead a week, but it looked like things turned out pretty well for them last week. How'd you view their performance?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty strong showing. I mean, I think to your point, sometimes we take for granted these are college kids, and it's hard to, decompartmentalize a game like this. There's so much on the horizon, and almost, you look at the schedule and the season, you kind of go, well, next week really means everything. But I thought they played about as well as they've played all season. And I actually think the trend has been, I think they've played better probably for almost every game of the season since the Boise State game. I think that's encouraging. This was the best defensive performance of the year by, I think, a pretty clear margin. Michigan State scored 10 points. That was in the fourth quarter against Oregon's second-team defense. It was a 31-0 game. The offensive line was great. I think that's been a breakout kind of story for this Oregon offense the last 2 or 3 games where, they settled on their 5 in Corvallis and kind of figured out who their starters are going to be. And now that group seems to be gelling and kind of they're finding their stride together. In the run game, especially on Friday, I thought was excellent. Jordan James, the junior running back, had his best game without question. So, no, I think they certainly put together a strong performance. It could have been more lopsided if not for 2 red zone interceptions thrown by Dylan Gabriel. And I think if there's one thing or maybe the big kind of storyline coming out of that game is, I don't know if you have to be perfect against the Buckeyes, but you certainly can't give up opportunities, 2 of them in the red zone there, and now 3 the last couple of weeks. So it's about maximizing those opportunities and hopefully improving there. But top to bottom, I think a lot of people were really pleased with the way they played in the final game for the big one.
Eric, it's number 2 against number 3. Is this maybe the biggest game to ever take place in Autzen?
We've been debating this all week on the podcast, and we've gotten a lot of submissions from people who are like, what about this game? What about that game? I think actually the back and forth has made my conviction stronger that the answer is yes. Because all of the people that watch and listen and give feedback, they've all come up with games that I kind of go, yeah, but that wasn't 2 versus 3. It was maybe 7 versus 5, or maybe it was an upset where the visiting team was ranked, in the top 3 or 4, but Oregon wasn't ranked there, or kind of the inverse, where Oregon was, in that sort of a spot, and the opposition was a great game, but the opposition wasn't seen there. So I'm starting to think this probably is, from a rankings perspective, and certainly I think from a brand value perspective, certainly Oregon played some of the marquee USC teams under Pete Carroll, and obviously decades before I was alive and available to chime in on marquee games. But Ohio State's kind of a different animal. This will be the first time that I've really ever played at Autzen, or at least in my lifetime. And, the fact that both teams are undefeated and right at the top of the national rankings, yeah, I think it probably is. And locally, it certainly feels that way. There's always a lot of buzz during the weeks leading up to big games, but this one really does feel a little different. My phone has been kind of blowing up about it all week, and I know there's a lot of people in the area really excited to be there. And I guess just one final thing I'll throw out that kind of indicates at least maybe the amount of attention on this game. There's going to be about 20 to 30 media members on the roof of Autzen Stadium because the press box is not up to capacity, and they didn't want to just outright say no to a bunch of people. So there's a ton of anticipation, at least from media perspective, and more so I think than ever at Autzen. I don't know if they've ever been close to having to turn this many people away or again put people on the roof like this.
You touched on this a minute ago in one of your answers, but elaborate a little bit more about what has to go right for Oregon to win this matchup.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think a lot. And I guess the most direct answer is, even in these wins, and Oregon's won pretty much decisively, their last 3 games have been pretty clear, dominant wins. But, the 2 kind of earlier games, and even in these dominant games, there's kind of always been a thing or 2 you're left kind of going like, well, they need to clean that up, whether that be 7 sacks allowed the first 2 games against Idaho and Boise State, whether that be some turnover issues, in the red zone the last couple of weeks, or even kind of in the middle of the season there, I guess, against Boise State run game. They had a really hard time stopping Ashton Genty, who it turns out nobody in the country seems very well equipped to defend based upon what he's done. But I think you look at this and go, they really have to play their best. And you certainly have to maximize those red zone trips like I talked about earlier. I think you need your defense to play well at all 3 levels. And I think that's probably the hardest part just in facing Ohio State. On both sides of the ball, they're so balanced and so good at kind of just about everything that it really will take a complete effort. And so it's not only that you can't make a lot of mistakes, it's like you got to hope your best is good enough across the board. Because I just don't think there's a lot of real exploitable things with Ohio State. And I guess that's my last thing is kind of like what thing or two that has worked a lot against lesser competition. I guess this is for both teams. What couple of things that have worked against, for Oregon, worked against Oregon State and Michigan State, what things aren't going to work against Ohio State because they're just a different step up in competition? And the inverse is true for Ohio State. What couple of things that maybe worked against Akron or Michigan State aren't going to work this weekend? And I think if you're Oregon, you got to hope that kind of favors you in terms of if there's a thing that everybody says, oh, they're good here, you better hope if the answer is, well, maybe they're not that good, that the totality of those things sort of favors Oregon, if all of that makes sense.
Sure does. One of the most anticipated games in college football all season long. Prime time on NBC, 6:30 Central Time. Eric Skopel of at Duck Territory, part of the 24/7 Sports family. Eric, thank you so much. Enjoy the heck out of this one. This will be great.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be a blast. Thanks for having me.
Wisconsin.
Here to talk about the Badgers, Ben Wergel of the Badger Blitz. Wisconsin coming off of a get-right game, a 52-6 thumping of Purdue. Boy, that had to be a breath of fresh air for this football team, for Luke Fickell, the staff, everybody. Ben, after a rocky September, to put together kind of a complete game against the Boilers.
I mean, without question. I mean, you look at kind of where this team was heading into this game, and you kind of felt, it's kind of hard to say it's must-win territory, but for Wisconsin to kind of accomplish the goals they want to accomplish and to kind of show progress was being made instead of a program it's felt like it's been treading water a little bit for the better part of the last 3-4 years. To come out and win the way that they did, especially kind of pull away in the second half, I think was key for this team. I mean, they've beaten Purdue 18 straight times. They haven't lost to Purdue in over 20 years. But to still see the offense hum with Braden Locke throwing for 359 yards and 3 touchdowns, to see some wide receivers step up that maybe haven't been playmakers to this point in the year, to see the defense really play a solid 4-quarter game and limit Purdue through the air and on the ground. Now, Grant, Purdue has been kind of a mess offensively, having fired their offensive coordinator heading into this game. But to them, that didn't matter. I mean, like you said, it was a rocky September, not just the losses to Alabama and USC, but the wins, too. Struggling to beat South Dakota, struggling to beat Western Michigan. They needed this heading into some tough games coming up on their schedule.
When teams lose their starting quarterback, it can really go south. But Locke has played a lot of football, right? I mean, he did the same thing a year ago. That's got to be a bit of a help for him kind of doing this now a second time.
Yeah, he stepped in last year when Tanner Mordecai went down with a leg injury and had to come in and play. And you thought that that was going to kind of really help elevate him. And it has. I mean, really throughout camp, it was a close competition between him and the starting quarterback, who again, ends up going down, and then you wonder, man, this is kind of like deja vu all over again. But Locke got thrown into a really tough situation, having to come in cold against Alabama. I thought he played decent in the first half against USC, and then everything kind of imploded around the offense in the second half on the road. And I thought he even started slow last week, but kept at it, kept the offense moving. And this is an offense that really hasn't been healthy for the better part of 2 years under Luke Fickell and Phil Longo. And we talk about, in Wisconsin, when is the air raid going to come? When are we going to kind of see this offense evolve a little bit? And it's been hard for them because of the personnel that has continued to rotate through. They haven't had any consistency. But to have Locke, who has started games now in 2 seasons under this offense and really knows this offense well, that's a nice fallback option to have, even though it wasn't plan A coming into the season.
All right, let's spin ahead to this week. It's at Rutgers, Piscataway. They're 4-1. Nebraska saw them last week. What do you make of this matchup? What are the keys from the Badger standpoint?
Well, you need to be able to kind of find some consistency on offense. I mean, Rutgers has been phenomenal on defense. I mean, you don't need to tell you and your fans that after seeing that firsthand, the way that they're able to pressure teams, they're able to limit teams, especially with this game being in Piscataway. This is going to be a kind of a challenging road environment for Wisconsin, just because they haven't played a lot of road games this year. They only played one, which was against Alabama. And you look at what Kyle Monangai has done, and stopping him will be important. He's got 6 touchdowns. He's 5.8 yards per carry. He's a 300-yard games. Wisconsin, probably their weakness from a defensive standpoint is on the defensive line. They were hurt with some injuries leading into the season. So how do you make them one-dimensional? How do you take away Monangai and make the passing game beat you? And I like Wisconsin's chances against a lot of passing attacks around the Big Ten. So it's really whichever offense can crack the opposing team's defense. I think that's going to give that team a significant leg up in this game.
Big picture, it's a pretty big game for Wisconsin, right? If you want to get into bowl eligibility, maybe climb the bowl ladder a little bit, this is a pretty big one, isn't it?
Oh, without question. Wisconsin sitting at 3-2 with 7 games left, but in those 7 games, you have Penn State at home, you have to go to Iowa, Oregon at home, at Nebraska. That's a pretty tough 4-game stretch there, starting later this month. The other games too. At Northwestern, 11 a.m. game. That's never easy for Wisconsin for whatever reason. And then you have Minnesota on Black Friday. You got to find at least 3 wins in there. And I think with the way we've seen Wisconsin through 5 games this season, I can't tell you for certain there's going to be 3 wins in there. This is probably one of the more likely ones to get there. And so this will be an important game for Wisconsin, not just to get to 6 wins, but to keep taking steps forward as a program to win these 4-quarter games, to play a tough opponent on the road, a Rutgers team that's played very well this season. And so this is an important step for Luke Fickell, not just to kind of keep the locker room together and to show that the light is at the end of the tunnel, but kind of rally the fan base and the boosters, some who are a little leery about the direction this program is headed.
Badgers at Rutgers, 11 o'clock Central on BTN. Ben Wergel of the Badger Blitz. Ben, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
All of our contributors appear with us on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with a home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. And that's the Blitz, presented by Groundworks, the official foundation company of the Huskers. 402-413-2400, the number if you want to be a part of the program. Back with more of the show next.
Attention, Husker Nation. Are you ready to power up your game? Sapp Brothers bleeds Husker Red, and our high-quality off-road red diesel is the fuel that powers your equipment. As official sponsors of the Huskers, we're here with a touchdown offer with the Sapp Brothers Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. Contract your upcoming fuel needs by February 1st and enter to win 1,000 free gallons of our off-road red diesel. Keep your engines roaring and your equipment running strong. With this winning opportunity, Sapp Brothers fuels Husker Nation. Visit sappbros.net/fuel giveaway for more info.
There's something to be said for American-made, but at Monolith, we're helping create Nebraska-made. From here in Nebraska, we're producing low-emission carbon black for tires across North America. Soon we'll be providing farmers with locally made fertilizer to reduce our reliance on foreign imports. We're investing hundreds of millions in our multiple Nebraska facilities and employing Nebraskans in high-paying jobs that support families and communities. Monolith, Nebraska-made.
In the game of life, we all face tough moments. Sometimes it feels like we're up against a formidable defense with no way through. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the final whistle. Reach out, speak up, and let's tackle this together. Because in Nebraska, we're more than a team. We're family. Remember, in times of need, call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir. Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
Live reports of a polar bear on the loose. Ma'am, is it cold enough for a polar bear in here?
Yes, we use SOS. Come on in.
SOS to the rescue! Nebraska defensive lineman Nash Hubmaker here. People know me as the polar bear, and when I want to stay cool, I call SOS. Their techs don't make commissions, so they give you an honest opinion, fair pricing, and longer warranties than the competition, guaranteed. Mention the polar bear and get a free 10-year labor warranty on New York equipment. The best warranty you have.
Call 402-391-2336.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks, making them America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. Introducing the new 2024 Ford F-150 and Ford Super Duty, the 2024 North American Truck of the Year. This is the next generation of Built Ford Tough.
Get a 2024 Ford Super Duty for 1.9% with Ford credit financing, or get $2,000 bonus cash only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump
and save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard until the other team scores. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
We're back, Sports Hotline, here on a Wednesday night. Some interesting stuff going on with baseball. The Mets have moved on. They beat the Phillies 4-1, so they win that series 3-1. They'll await the winner of the series between the Dodgers and the Padres, which could end tonight. If San Diego wins, that series would be over. Cleveland, earlier today, dropped a 3-0 decision to Detroit, so the Tigers lead that series 2-1. The Royals, after falling behind 2-0 in the bottom of the fifth, have plated 2 runs and are still at it, 2 on, 2 outs in a 2-2 tie with the Yankees. That series even at a game apiece. It's been interesting that since they kind of went to this expanded playoff, more wild card teams, the wild card teams have had way more than their fair share of winning. And you look at this, the Mets were a wild card team and a road one at that. The Padres, a road team that are up 2-1. Detroit, a road wild card team, up 2-1 on Cleveland. And Kansas City was a road wild card team, tie at 1 with the Yanks, but certainly in a battle here in Game 3, 2-2. So I don't know. Maybe you don't want those buys. You want to keep playing baseball because you go back to last year, you had some wild card teams that made a run through the Major League Baseball playoffs. We'll keep an eye on that here in the final few minutes of our program. Here's what's on tap, brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Husker volleyball back on the court Friday night against the Purdue Boilermakers. This will be a nationally ranked matchup. 7:30 first serve. Pre-game coverage will begin at 6:30 here on the HRN. And we do know that the next football broadcast will be an 11 a.m. kick. Huskers at Indiana for only the second time since joining the Big Ten Conference. Will Nebraska play in Bloomington? The last time was 2016. So 8 years since they visited Bloomington for a football game. That means our Husker Game Day show begins next week at 7 a.m. Nice and early for that one. That is, again, what is on tap, brought to you by Michelob Ultra. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Camden, I know you are a big baseball fan. How about the success of the recent years of these wild card teams beating these teams that get the first round bye? Does it disrupt the rhythm? Is there something to it, or are we reading too much into that?
Well, I think baseball players just get in such a routine, right? They're playing
almost every day, or they'll have one off day every couple of weeks. So when you go, say, a week without playing a game, I think it kind of just throws these teams that aren't in the wild card, that get these buys, that play really well in the season, just kind of throws them off because they're out of the routine. And then these other teams get 2 days. If you're the Mets, you get no days off before your playoffs start. So I think just the continuity that they get by still playing and not getting that week off is a big part of that.
It's supposed to be an advantage for a couple reasons. One, it gives your guys a few days to breathe, but it should allow you to set your pitching, where the wild card teams have to try to win the wild card round. So they got to go with their ace and then their 2. And then if you have to get to a game 3, you have to use that. And so you may be forced to use a 4 to open up the DS, but that just has not played out that way with these teams that have gotten hot. And certainly Detroit is a hot baseball team. They've been the best team in baseball since June. I think the Mets have the best record in baseball since, let me rephrase that. The Tigers have the best record in baseball since August 1. And I think the Mets have the best record in baseball since June 1. So these are teams that have been playing good baseball. Now, the Royals were not. Royals did not play well coming down the stretch, and yet took the first 2 games from Baltimore, and now are 1-1 with the Yankees. And by the way, the Yankees got the final out in that 5th, so they're 2-2 going to the 6th inning. So the Royals were not playing good baseball. The Yankees were fine. They were okay. Cleveland was fine, not playing great, but fine coming down the stretch. And the Dodgers had the best record in baseball, but face elimination tonight in a game that starts here in about 20 minutes. So theoretically, getting the bye should help you set up your pitching, give your guys a few days of rest, clear your head, but it doesn't seem to be working that way as we make our way through the playoffs. I think the playoffs have been fabulous. So great drama. The ratings are up across the board in Major League Baseball. So the sport's been in a pretty healthy flow. All right, 402-413-2400, the number if you want to be a part of the program. Crypto King wants to know if we've got any update on Andy Jackson. John Cook met with the media yesterday. And by the way, Coach will have his radio show tomorrow night. Said she's making progress. I think she's close. I think because it's a long season and you want her ready for December, not necessarily early October, they'll be very cautious with her crypto, but I think she's really close to getting back out on the court. I think we might see her play against Purdue on Friday night at the Bob for that matchup. All right, need to step aside, get our final break in. We're back to wrap up tonight's show next.
Husker fans, visit a participating AGCO dealer now until November 1st and enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets and pregame hospitality passes to the Nebraska versus Wisconsin football game on November 23rd in Lincoln. See your True Turf and Ag locations in Osmond, Columbus, and Falls City, Osceola Implement, and Kearney Equipment to enter for your chance to win this season.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks, making them America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. Introducing the new 2024 Ford F-150 and Ford Super Duty, the 2024 North American Truck of the Year. This is the next generation of Built Ford Tough.
Get a 2024 Ford Super Duty for 1.9% with Ford credit financing, or get $2,000 bonus cash only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump
and save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
Life doesn't come with guarantees, but working with Rob Seco comes pretty close. Our strategic investments in the seed we offer are designed to directly improve your bottom line. From full trait platforms, breeding and development, to field-by-field planning and seed-driven crop inputs, with Rob Seco, you have precisely what you need to improve plant performance and increase yield. Every farm, every crop, and every acre. Learn more at robseco.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker Football Spring Game, thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Woodhouse has been a trusted auto partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Again, a programming note. Volleyball show returns tomorrow night, hour 1. John Cook, the head coach, will be here to take your comments, calls, questions about Husker volleyball, the undefeated team in the league. Huskers ranked number 2 in the country. The latest poll that came out on Monday. Purdue and Rutgers will be at the Devaney Center this weekend. Both night matches, 7:30 for the Purdue match on Friday with a 6:30 pregame coverage. We'll have then a full hour of Sports Nightly after the volleyball show, and then on Friday we'll have a 30-minute show leading you into pregame with JB and Lauren on Friday night. Some changes happening in the NFL at the quarterback spot. Derek Carr hurt for the Saints. They're going to turn to Spencer Rattler. The rookie quarterback is going to get the start for the Saints in their next outing. So Carr tore or pulled an oblique muscle in that Monday night game with the Chiefs at Arrowhead a couple of nights ago. So Carr out, Spencer Rattler in, and Gardner Minshew out in Vegas as their starting quarterback. They're going to go with O'Connell, the former Purdue quarterback. So he will be the new quarterback for the Raiders moving forward this week. So a couple of changes at the quarterback spot in the National Football League moving forward. Husker soccer, a couple of road matches coming up this week. They're traveling back east. They'll play Rutgers this weekend and Maryland. They're 2 matches as they make their swing through the East Coast. So they'll pick that up and then come back home. I think their final 2 home matches are next week. So that soccer season quickly winding down. This will be dead. This will be fall break on UNL's campus next Monday, Tuesday. No classes for the students. So everybody off a couple of days. And then it gears up. No more off days until the Thanksgiving holiday, which is late this year. Thanksgiving's really late in November, so it'll be a late time. Again, I want to reiterate for our folks, and I know we have some in the chat room that live down in the state of Florida, be careful. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. That storm has made landfall near Sarasota within the last hour or so, and it's just got buckets of rain, wind. It came on shore as a Cat 3. So it did drop down a little bit right before it hit landfall, thank goodness, even though Cat 3 is plenty bad. But if you're down in that area, we're thinking about you. You're probably not listening. You may not have power. So be good. I mean, take the heed of the warnings that were given to you. Hopefully you took care of that and made it to safe ground. Or if you stayed home, hopefully you got your windows boarded up so that you can withstand some of these hurricane-force winds that are going to be blowing through in the next 12 hours or so. Next 8 to 10 hours are going to be pretty uncomfortable, I think, for a large swath of central Florida through the Tampa and Orlando area. Thanks, everybody, for being a part of this one tonight. Thanks to Camden for steering the ship, and to all of you for participating here on our Wednesday night show. Again, our volleyball show tomorrow night. We'll be back with hour 2 after that, including our picks for the week. Looking forward to making some of those picks coming up tomorrow night on the program. Have yourself a great night. We'll talk again tomorrow. Good night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Life doesn't come with guarantees, but working with Rob Seco comes pretty close. Our strategic investments in the seed we offer are designed to directly improve your bottom line. From full trait platforms, breeding and development, to field-by-field planning and seed-driven crop inputs, with Rob Seco, you have precisely what you need to improve plant performance and increase yield. Every farm, every crop, and every acre. Learn more at robseco.com.
For almost 50 years, Sid Dillon Buick GMC Cadillac in Fremont has been more than just a dealership. We're a family dedicated to serving yours. Shop Nebraska's #1 volume Buick GMC dealer for the new car, truck, or SUV to fit your needs. We're also your GMC Business Elite dealer for commercial vehicles. Visit us at SidDillonBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
Husker fans, visit a participating AGCO dealer now until November 1st and enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets and pregame hospitality passes to the Nebraska versus Wisconsin football game on November 23rd in Lincoln. See your True Turf and Ag locations in Osmond, Columbus, and Falls City, Osceola Implement, and Kearney Equipment to enter for your chance to win this season.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker Football Spring